one of my favorite quote-unquote off-brand portable power station brands, has an additional offering on the market. This is from OSCAL. It's their PowerMax 1800 SE. And these guys are really pushing hard in the portable power station space and are doing certain things that a lot of the off-brands cut corners on. And I think they're fast becoming one of the big players. So let's put this 1800 SE power station as well as their 400 watt portable solar panel to the test. And that way you guys can make up your own mind if this is a good offering or not. Now, OSCAL did send this portable power station out as well as this solar panel for me to test and review for you guys. But as always, I get to say and do whatever I please to help you guys understand what this brings to the table. Let's unbox both of these items from OSCAL. We had some documentation. I love when they include solar cables and then an AC charging cable. And here's the power station itself. OSCAL does a fantastic job with making really bright, easy to read displays. 12 volt, 6 amp barrel connectors, and then a standard cigarette style plug. We've got a 15 watt type A USB, an 18 watt type A quick charge, and then 2 100 watt power deliveries. This button here says light. Let's press that. Steady on, a little brighter steady on. That looks like SOS. That's kind of interesting. A pulsing mode and strobe. And back to steady on. So to turn it off, press and hold probably. Yep. On the end here, we just have ventilation. And on the back side here, we've got the inputs. AC charging connection, resettable circuit breaker. Not entirely sure what this little carved out space is for. We have our DC in, 10 to 60 volts DC, 20 amps max. That's actually really good input for a power station this size. And just more ventilation on this side. It has an 1800 watt inverter with a 1024 watt hour battery. And in the manual, it does specify that it's a lithium iron phosphate battery rated to 3,500 cycles to 80% capacity. Next package to unbox. We've got one of their 400 watt portable solar panels. Inside this little pouch right here, we've got access to our MC4 cables. We can see some specs here. It's a 400 watt panel. VOC will be 41 volts with a short circuit current of 12.3 amps. We've got what appears to be some kickstands here. That unsnaps. Then that unsnaps at the bottom right there. And this has an infinite amount of swing. And so you got to snap this back in and then it braces the leg. And here's a glimpse at the solar cells themselves. It's a big panel. So that was my first time setting up this solar panel. So there's a little learning curve, just because I hadn't set it up before. And these little strap things that snap in and allow you to adjust the angle. Took a little bit of adjusting. You can see I've got on this first one. I should probably move it up one just to help with the angle. But really, you probably actually don't necessarily need that if you're securing to something like grass. Where it can kind of brace itself going backwards. If you're on like concrete or something, you may need this strap, but this is pretty rigid in there. So for future times, if I'm deploying on the grass, I may not even worry about snapping these straps. But let's see what kind of performance we're getting. Look at that, 373 watts from a 400 watt panel. Not too shabby. Now I'll tell you one concern I have with this panel, and that is these points where the solar panel bends and folds up. If you take note, out here in the front, there's no wires. And if you take note back here in the back, there is also no wires that are open or visible. So that means that the wiring between the panels are embedded in this material. And I personally am not a huge fan of those. Let me insert a clip to show you why. Here's one of these flexible portable panels, and while they're nice from the standpoint that they fold up, this panel is only about 3 years old, been used very lightly, occasional camping trips, maybe been used 5 times camping, and anyway, it's toast now. If you look at this right here, that is melted right there. And if I flip it over here, you can see the melt mark on this side as well. This panel does not generate any electricity anymore. So you're going to pay a premium for this portable aspect of this panel compared to just standard solar panels. So buy this if you want the utmost portability and mega power. So, van life, tent camping, times where space is at a premium and you need as much power for the space that the panel takes up. I would recommend not getting this solar panel if it's going to be your daily driver, so to speak. A glass solar panel is going to give you significantly better performance and longevity, I think. But let me know if you think I'm wrong down in the comments. One thing that's extremely good about this solar panel is the fact that it uses MC4 connectors, so that way it's universally compatible with any solar product you want to use. It's not proprietary for OSCAL. And I think this is a really good size to pair with the PowerMax 1800 SE, where you saw that it's putting out a little over 360 watts, but just for easy math, let's say 350 watts of continuous power from this solar panel. That means that you could recharge this power station from dead to full in just over 4 hours, which is certainly reasonable. So let's just do 2 shade performance tests on this panel. First, let's just get a baseline with no shade, still holding strong at about 360 watts. Next, I'm going to shade just the bottom corner right there. And you can see, much like a lot of solar panels, that absolutely wrecked the output. We're still getting 208 watts, but that reduced us by 160 watts. Next, I'm going to put a giant shadow on just one of the panels here. Everything else is in full sun, just this one little shade. And very interesting, look at that. It's still over 200 watts, so whether we shade the bottom corner of that panel or block it in a massive way, we're still getting about the same wattage, 200 watts. So now what about a big ugly shadow on 2 of the panels, bridging 2 of the panels here? It lowered it a little bit, but we're still getting almost 200 watts. So I actually find that quite impressive. This panel is more shade tolerant than you might think. And so while yes, a teeny bit of shade immediately affects the performance of the panel as a whole, but once you've had a shade affect, half the panel, if the other half is still exposed, the performance that the panel drops as a whole after that with shade is pretty minimal. So they've done a really good job engineering, ways to have the energy bypass shade in this panel. Guys, you are going to want one of these tools. I could not get those MC4 connectors to separate on the panel, so I'll leave a link for these handy tools that make disconnecting things substantially easier. Parasitic drain test. Let's go ahead and enable the inverter. And take note, it is 12:10. So we'll come back in 12 hours and see what our idle drain is. All right, 12:08 p.m. 12 hours later, and you can see that we are currently sitting at 73% state of charge, down from 100%. So 27% in 12 hours. So over a 24-hour period, you could expect this inverter to consume about 54% of the battery on its own, even if there's nothing plugged into it. So that means this inverter consumes a little over 20 watts at idle. AC battery capacity test. You can see we're pulling very close to 200 watts, which is about a 0.2 C rate of discharge for this, and everything's zeroed out. Battery capacity test is now complete. And looking at the results here, we had 852 watt hours out of a possible 1024. So that gives us basically an 83% efficiency on this capacity test, which is what I would call industry standard. AC power recharge test. Officially starting. So I'm a little late to when this finished, but based on the time lapse, it took approximately 1 hour and 31 minutes to go from dead to full. And that was with it turned all the way up to its max 800 watt charging speed. We're going to push this inverter to its limit and see what happens. First, with no load present, take a look. We've got 118.5 volts. So that's great to see. We have a 120 volt inverter on this unit. We're going to go ahead and start with the heater here, and then we'll slowly ramp the heat gun up to the limit of this power station. So I'm currently on high heat right now. Notice that the voltage is still holding steady at 118, which is great to see. You can see our wattage is about 1400, just over 1400. So we're going to go ahead and turn the heat gun on. Oh, and it just died. So I think I applied too much heat gun. But I like seeing that OSCAL has it built in where it will just shut down. It won't do any wonky, voltage fluctuations or anything. If it overloads, it just boof, turns off. All right, we'll reset here. Heat is on high. Voltage holding steady at 118.5, just about 1500 watts. Heat gun running at 120 degrees, so we're just gonna turn this up a little bit, and we'll just watch this voltage as well as the wattage, and we'll just see how close we can get to the 1800 watt limit. Oh, and we just pooped out again. So it does not have much headroom over the 1800 watt limit. It will hit 1800 watts for a short period of time. Let me demonstrate that. Okay, so I've just got the heat on low at the moment, and I've actually unplugged the heat gun. I'm going to train you guys on this screen and voltage meter. Watch what happens when I turn this heat up to high. You're going to see it hit around 1800 watts, okay? Going to high, 3, 2, 1. 1850 right there, 1600, and then it kind of slacks back down after the heat has, warmed up. So we can hit 1800 watts. It just does not have very much room for overhead. And I don't know if you saw, but there was a little light that started flashing there saying overload. So this power station will give you about 1800 watts, but not very much more beyond that. Heavy surge testing next for this OSCAL PowerMax 1800 SE. I have this air compressor that really demands a lot to get started, and I even got quite a bit of pressure already built up in it. So this is going to be starting against a pressurized tank. 3, 2, 1. Piece of cake. Next, I have added this heater. It's on low heat, 876 watts being pulled out of it. And by the way, just a comment, notice how easily seen this screen is, even in direct sunlight. That's one of the strengths that OSCAL has. Their screens are super easy to see and read. So, heater running on low. Let's see if the air compressor will start with that. 3, 2, 1. It started, but it overloaded the inverter and shut down. So this has a little bit of surge capability. Just make sure you don't have too heavy of a load on it if you're going to try to start an additional heavy load that could potentially put the inverter over its 1800 watt limit, because it is very quick to protect itself. So this PowerMax 1800 SE has an app, but in order to get that connected, we first got to turn on the Bluetooth. That's done with the little Bluetooth button right here. Just a short press, lights up. You'll see that the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi icons come up on the screen. And then we need to get it into pairing mode. So all we're going to do is press and hold this button once it's lit up, and it will beep. Now that should be in pairing mode. We'll go ahead and come to the app and tap the plus and go ahead and add a device. And you can see it's found the device right here, so we'll go ahead and tap on it. And it says we've added it successfully. So this is kind of the dashboard. We've got our input and our output power. AC power in right here, your DC power in right here. Then you've got your AC power out, which we're using, 850 watts, and your output DC power right here. State of charge indicator right here in the middle. We can toggle things off and on. So see, I just turned the DC on. This is a nice touch. You actually have a physical menu to be able to turn the light off and on. So if you want to jump right to high bright, you can do that from the app, and you don't have to cycle through all the different modes using the switch. And that's all for this main page right here. Let's go to the little gear icon right here. You can set up your temperature unit. I'm going to go ahead and change it to Fahrenheit. Battery, charge, and discharge settings. So this is pretty nice. You can set a charging limit, so if you don't want it to go to 100%, you can dial it back if you want. Same with discharging. If you don't want to go all the way to 0, you can dial that up. And then down here, you can toggle the charging speed. Our max speed is 800 watts, and minimum speed would be 100 watts. And you can select anything in between in 100 watt increments. Here, you can adjust your screen timeout, everything from 1 minute to always on. I'm going to change mine to always on. I like having my screen on. AC standby time. So this allows us to adjust, the time that the AC inverter would time out if there was no load present. I like to have mine always on because you never know, like if you're going to run a fridge or something like that, sometimes it can be off for extended periods of time, and you don't want your power station shutting down on you when you need it most. Software version, doesn't look like there's anything here. Device specifications, that just takes you to their website, and then contact information for them. So I'm glad they have an app. It's certainly better than not having one. I personally think. I like apps. it is a third-party app, so that's somewhat expected with, new players on the block where they haven't quite gotten their R&D up to the point of having their, own in-house app. There are some mysterious settings and stuff in here that don't seem to work, and that's probably due to, the third-party nature of the app. So just be aware of that. And now is a good time for you to hear the fan noise because they're really cranking. So that was obviously with me holding the microphone right up here. The fans are audible. I've certainly had much louder power stations though on the channel, but I've certainly had a lot quieter ones as well. Welcome to the office. We've got 3 4K gaming monitors with a gaming benchmark in 4K running on that screen right there. And what we're going to do is test the UPS capability of the OSCAL PowerMax power station here. So I've got this cord plugged into the outlet right here. It comes over here to this power strip. This cord is plugged into the input on the OSCAL, and then plugged into the outlet here is this next black cord, and it comes and plugs into the power strip that everything with this computer is plugged into. You can see we're actually outputting 600 watts because this computer is pulling so much power. Turning off, 3, 2, 1. Yep, everything's still running just fine. Computer's on. Still pulling over 600 watts, no input power anymore. So now reverse, we're gonna flip the switch on in 3, 2, 1. Heard the relay click. Everything's still running, and we're starting to input power again. Just for fun, one more power shutdown. 3, 2, 1. Yep, so this OSCAL PowerMax 1800 SE has a very, very fast UPS. So comment below on what you guys think of this power station. Do you see this as a viable option to add to your collections? I'll tell you what, this is the second power station now from OSCAL that I've tested, and for being pretty darn new to the power station front, they have really come out of the gate swinging. I genuinely have very limited bad things to say about it. Probably my biggest gripe is the app. It's a little clunky. Not a huge fan of the third-party aspect. I know you've got to start somewhere, and like I said, I'd rather have some kind of app control with some flexibility versus no app control. And then I also wouldn't mind seeing a slightly faster charge speed, or at least the ability to have a faster charge speed on something like this. A lot of the competition has like around 1200 watt max input with a similar battery capacity as this. And this tops out at 800. So those two things could definitely be improved. But aside from that, this is a really good, solid power station. I'll have links to it down in the description so you guys can check out current pricing. If I have any coupon codes for it, I will be sure and leave those down there as well. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hype. The 5 free things that give me the motivation and excitement to continue making these videos for you. Stay safe, and we'll catch y'all next time.